Hello to all my American Horror Story historians. My name is EJ Marino and we have a review today. I'm going to be jumping into the latest episode of American Horror Story double feature called Gaslight. Now, this was a pretty jam-packed episode, a pretty long episode, and on one hand, I am happy about that, but on the other hand, maybe if this wasn't a shortened season, we could actually not stuff one episode with a lot at one time. I am torn because, don't get me wrong, I had a good time with this episode. The acting was really strong. It progressed the storyline, but it was a bit overwhelming. There was so much going on. The way we would jump from the Karen and Mickey stuff to the stuff with the family, I was just a bit kind of torn. I was trying to put this all together, and it only kind of came together at the end for maybe about 10 minutes when those two stories collided, when, you know, Mickey and Karen decided to get the baby, and that didn't work out. We will get to that in a second. But yeah, I was a bit on this episode, but then I'm like thinking and I'm like, but the acting was great. I really loved what we actually finally got with our progressions of our characters, and at the same time, it made me flip on some characters. I really liked Mickey, and I actually really did not like Doris, but by the end of this episode, that kind of flipped, and I felt for Doris. Once you start gaslighting somebody, I will relate, and I will feel for you, but yeah, and then with Mickey's character, we saw the sellout. We saw that soul start leaving him when he started becoming a monster. So yeah, I really liked this in that aspect. So overall, I'm going to say I enjoyed this episode. I had a good time. I liked what was presented. I just thought it was a little bit too much at one time. Am I the only one who feels that this was a bit overstuffed of an episode and we could have spread this out? I know we only have one more episode of this part, so it's a bit confusing. Also, are we going to get any connections in between the two? That is what's really driving me crazy, because, like, I think the story's going to be wrapped up by next episode, but there's still more pieces, and there's still a reason why they did this split season. So what are we going to be doing? Who knows? But let's get into this recap, because this episode has a lot to talk about. Well, Doris finally gives birth to the baby, and it goes about as expected. She's having her birth, and while that's happening, Harry is fiending. He is seeing all the blood in the hospital, and it is making him go nuts, like legit to the point where he has to like leave that situation, wring out the blood on like the towels and drink that. He is a bit wild, and I feel for him, like, for a little bit, where I'm like, oh yeah, that sucks, but at the same time, you have like willingly chose this life, so all this hard shit that you're dealing with, don't feel sympathy for you. So yes, he takes Doris back to the house, you know, the house that they were supposed to be at, and she wakes up confused, like, yo, what is happening? We're not supposed to be here. Why are we doing this? Let me out of here. And it's kind of tough because we have Ursula, we have Alma, and we have Harry gaslighting Doris to basically make her feel like she has to stay here and make her feel like she's wrong for being flustered and confused about the situation. That triggered and gave me like anxiety. I felt for her so much in this thing. I loved Ursula and Harry up until this episode when they really showed how evil they were, and that's so stupid on me that I knew they were bad people, but it wasn't until this one where I was like, y'all are really bad. Now that the baby is home, it's kind of triggering Alma, and Alma decides, let me have a little nibble on him. She thinks she's gonna sneak this up at night, and Miss Doris wakes up and catches her. Yeah, she finally sees Alma drinking blood, but they continue to gaslight this girl. Yeah, I'm just like, okay, cool. Ursula is just talking some trash to her. The way they put her down, by the end of this episode, I was like, please, Doris, kill this whole family. Get rid of them. I was once cheering for Alma because she seemed to be the only one with sense. Now she seems to be the coldest and the meanest. The way she reacts to this, the way she tries to push the pill on her mother, we find out the reason for that in a bit. But yeah, I was just like, wow. Also, though, speaking of Alma, shout out to that actress. I think Ryan Kiera Armstrong, applause. You deserve your flowers. You are doing amazing. Oh my goodness, I feel for her. The way she talked to her mom, I like this actress a lot. I hope she gets more horror work because she's really, really fun. And I really like the conversations she has with Doris throughout the episode. I like some of the stuff she does with Ursula, some of the stuff with her dad. This character, Alma, and the actress are really selling it and making her one of the best kid actresses in all of horror TV. Before we get back to the hot mess house with all the blood drinking baddies, we see a little bit of Mickey and Karen here. We see he has a new car. He is living his Hollywood life, and Karen's just like, you are a sellout punk, I don't like you, and what's good, bro? And she like tries to connect with him a little bit, but he is so far gone down this pill route, and she wants nothing to do with him. So she goes to the beach, tries to paint by herself, and Belle says, yo, where have you been? You and me have a like an arrangement here, and I need this to happen, or I will have all these pale people eat you. What's the mission? Yeah, Belle wants Karen to basically steal the baby, and she's gonna eat the baby. And like, you see Karen so over this, and she doesn't want to do this anymore. She's so over the horrible things she has to do for these pill people, and I'm like, yeah, she's gonna get to a breaking point, and she does. So let's kind of wrap up a little bit of their stuff. We see that Belle has sent her on this mission, and Karen's like, yeah, actually, my plan for this is to save the baby. I'm gonna go there to make sure like nothing happens to the baby. Let's try to save them. And yeah, when they get to the house, all these stories mix together, but we have a little bit more to talk about before we get there. We are back at Casa de blood-addicted vampire people, and it is a bit of a mess here. They're all getting on Doris. They are just reading her. Then we have a moment where Alma tries to drug her with the pill. This is a big pivotal moment of this episode because the pill starts getting now presented to Doris. She has everyone in the room, and Alma's like, I'm done lying. Y'all are playing a game. I'm done playing. I want to start playing chess. Y'all are still doing checkers. Like, what the hell is going on? So she spills all of the tea to her mom. She just says, this is what's happening. What the hell are you doing? Like, yes, I try to eat the baby because we drink blood, because we're creative and you are not, so get on our level. And Doris is just like, I'm gonna leave and I'm gonna run away. She tries to, and then the pale people attack her, so she's stuck in this house isolated, and I feel for her. Like, we have like Denis O'Hare's character coming over and trying to remodel it, take her position from her, and she's just like, what is happening? And I'm like, Doris, girl, maybe you need to take the pill. And yeah, her and Alma decide, let's have a cute little girl like bonding moment and take the pill, mom. Let's do it. Now the whole house is juicing. Alma finally gets her mom to take the pill, and we know the results of this. We knew from the beginning that it wasn't going to work well, and these pills instantly start messing with Doris, and we start seeing the palening of Doris's character, and I feel for her, but at the same time, I don't want to victim blame here, but girl, maybe you should have left a while ago. Like, you wouldn't be here if you didn't just try to leave this horrible situation. I feel so bad. Yeah, this is a big moment where we now have everyone here except for Ursula taking the pill. Doris is about to be a pale person, and this episode picks up in a crazy way. In the big finale of this episode, we start seeing the pieces come together. We see Mickey and Karen break into the house to get the baby from the family. The family's not there. Well, most of them. Ursula, Alma, and Harry have gone on their own, and Doris is there by herself. And she's having a rough time. She's becoming a pale person. She's starting to lose her hair, get more aggressive. She's discombobulated. She is smart enough to be able to push Mickey and Karen out of the house. They are having to run for the hills. And yeah, that's when Karen kind of says, I am done with all of this. Let me be. She goes and runs, and the pale people get to her. I am thinking the pale people are going to eat her, but Mickey saves her for a moment. The true douchebag nature of Mickey comes out here and says, here's the ultimatum. You need to take the pill, or I'm gonna let these pale people eat you. And she finally takes it. So now we have Karen and Doris finally taking the pills. We see how it's working on Doris. She's full pale person. Harry finds her, seeing how aggressive she is. She's trying to kill the baby, and he's just like, yo, girl, and he's stressed, and I'm like, well, your fault, bro. Like, I'm sorry. And he kind of does this horrible, douchey explanation of like, oh, this is the best route for you. I could help you. This is what you need because my life would have been too hard. I'm like, I want all of these people to die. I truly went from like standing this horrible family to just being over their horribleness, and I'm just like, this isn't even the end of the episode, because the end gets dramatic. Karen has taken the pill. She's trying to make some art with Mickey. Oh boy, they go to the beach and paint, and you're gonna think they have a connection. They're going to be nice and wholesome together, and no, Karen has other plans. She's done with all of this, truly, at this point. She's taken the pill, she's feeling artsy, but she feeds on Mickey. She kills Mickey and says, basically, this is the only way I can save both of us. She gets a big painting out, she feels it, she's feeding on Mickey. She's about to, what? Off herself. Oh my goodness. This ending for Karen's character was so brutal. I felt for her, but this was the only route. She knew what Mickey was going to turn into. She knew her path. So she said, I'm going to get rid of all of this. I got my great painting out. I feel accomplished. Now it's time for me to go on my own path to the afterlife. And I'm like, I feel for you, Karen. I want you to do well. Now that Karen has killed Mickey, and I'm just still heartbroken about that, R.I.P. Macaulay Culkin's character. He was so great. Sarah Paulson was a fun time on this thing. There is a rumor that she won't be returning to Horror Story. If this is one of her final characters, I think TB Karen was a fun way to go out. So now to wrap up this episode, they basically kick Doris out of the house and say, you are a pale person, go live among your people. And she's there. She's lost her family. Ursula's kind of now working with Alma, and there's that relationship, and I'm like, I can't wait to the ending where all of you people get A. I hope the chemist at the end just kind of like Hotline Blings. Remember that scene from Hotel when they just come in and start shooting? I want her to clear out all these people and go, well, this was a failed experiment. I'm gonna go off to my planet, because she's giving me alien vibes. Fingers crossed, that would be so cool. Yeah, I liked the conclusion of this episode. It was kind of a, oh, well, let's end it the weird, we had two pale people endings, these two kind of ones in a row. I thought we should have ended with the Karen stuff, but overall, I enjoyed this. I thought it was a fun, jam-packed episode. Bit too jam-packed, because this review's a bit longer than the other ones, but I had a good time. Let's get to this ending, though. I meant the ending of the video because, hello, we're wrapping up. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. I had a good time breaking down this episode. What do you guys think of this review? What do you think of this episode of American Horror Story Double Feature? Are you excited for the finale of this part next week? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Are you guys vibing on this? How are we feeling? Do you think this is going to end up a top-tier season for us, or let me know down in the comments below. Subscribe to my channel. Give me a thumbs up. All right, everyone. Let's talk about Gaslight and AHS double feature down below.